Welcome to the Mile High Church podcast. We're so glad you're here. I'll bet you're here because you are a spiritual seeker. And we just happen to have all sorts of classes at Mile High Church, online and in person. Come and learn more about the depths of your spiritual nature. Come and learn about how to expand and create the life you want. Our classes start the week of September 9th. Go to milehighchurch.org and click on classes to learn more.
There once was a woman who couldn't sing very well. And so she made the commitment that on her best friend's birthday, she would call and sing her happy birthday. And the day arrived and she called and the phone gets picked up and she just goes right into it. Happy birthday to you. She wraps up the song and it's not her friend but a gentleman on the other line who says, first of all, it's not my birthday, and second of all, I think you may have the wrong number. Then why, she said, did you let me sing the whole song? Well, ma'am, I could tell you needed the practice. And the message for all of us there is we all need the practice. And it's Practitioner Recognition Month, but what I would like us all to recognize here this morning is we are all practitioners. We are all practitioners of this thing called life. And the question is, do you know what you're practicing? Because that which you practice consistently, you'll get good at. A spiritual practitioner is one who brings reverence to that which they practice. They bring a level of intentionality and awareness and creative spark to their practices. A licensed practitioner, like we have here at Mile High Church, is one who has committed themselves to helping others become aware and bring intentionality and reverence to that which they practice. The message title today is The Foundation for Life Transformation. But before I get into that, I want to talk to you about what to me the essence of a practitioner is. Again, pointing out that I'm not just talking about our licensed practitioners here at Mile High Church, that I may just be talking about you as well. The first core aspect of the essence of a practitioner is daily spiritual practice. Daily meditation, daily prayer, daily bits of solitude, walks in nature, whatever that spiritual practice may be. As practitioners, we believe in and operate in the real world. We simply don't believe that it's the most real reality. We believe in an invisible reality, a golden cord of the sacred, a unity of all life, a deep found awareness even when it is most forgotten in the sacredness and dignity and beauty and the majesty that is life itself, expressing and evolving as you and as I. The great spiritual practitioner Howard Thurman said, life moves at a deeper level than the objective and the data of our senses. We are most alive when we are brought face to face with the response of the deepest thing in us to the deepest thing in life. And that's what spiritual practice does. It doesn't finish when you say amen. It reverberates through our days as we experience the deepest thing in ourselves, connecting over and over again with the deepest thing in life. Your practice doesn't have to be perfect. The great supermodel, Cindy Crawford, once said, even I don't wake up looking like Cindy Crawford. You may meditate and feel like crap. You may pray and feel that your faith is wobbly at most. And yet the key is the consistency, the everyday nature of having reverence and bringing it into our daily lives. Another essential aspect of the practitioner, it's uncanny, but it is the practitioner's ability to accept you as you are and at the same time hold you to who you are becoming. Perhaps the greatest gift in my spiritual life have been practitioners who've accepted me as I am and held me to who deep down I can be. How many of you in your life have someone who accepts you absolutely as who you are? It can be a rare thing. How many of you have someone in your life that consistently holds you to who you're becoming, who you say you want to be, and what Spirit has in mind for you to be? Yeah. How many of us have both? Someone who represents both of those. I bet you that's your practitioner in your life. That person that holds you to a greater truth. I had a great practitioner when I was 17 years old. Her name was Madeline Fielding. Wonderful woman. And I think perhaps for the first time, she just created this sanctuary of acceptance. And I can tell you at 17 years old, the last thing I was accepting of myself. My body was flailing everywhere. I didn't like my complexion. I couldn't wait to grow up and be an adult so I wouldn't have any more problems. Where I could finally be free. And Madeline just loved me. She accepted me as I am and perhaps instilled in me the gift to learn how to create that sanctuary for other people. And yet, Madeline was hard on me. She saw the truth of who I was before I saw it about myself, and she held me up to it. I was struggling with money, being 17, and she said, "Josh, I want you to practice this daily affirmation. God is my source. God is my source. And what I want you to do is when you say it, to take turns emphasizing each word so you can embody it and get the feeling of it. God is my source. God is my source. God is my source. God is my source." You want to do it with me? God is my source. God is my source. God is my source. God is my source. This also helps when you're trying to do your Chris Farley, Matt Foley impression from Saturday Night Live, except you emphasize two words. You're going to wind up in a van down by the river. There you go. Lastly, the essence of a spiritual practitioner is they're an example of spiritual living, especially in their willingness to struggle. It is such an honor when I'm hanging with one of our practitioners and they're willing to let me in on where they're experiencing challenges, where they're stuck, where they're confused, where they've been praying for a breakthrough and nothing's broken yet. And it's so beautiful because they serve as an example to me that says living in a spiritual life in a real world means there's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some ups and downs, but you hold on to your practice. The practitioner has the ability, even in the midst of brokenness, to hold on to a shred of their wholeness. Even in immense uncertainty, to hold on to a deep knowing of divine clarity. Even when hitting a wall over and over, to have a consciousness of grace. This is the great gift that all of us can achieve through being practitioners. The title of my message today is The Foundation for Life Transformation, and it speaks to the tool that all practitioners use in co-creating their lives and in assisting others in co-creating theirs, and we call it affirmative prayer. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, called it spiritual mind treatment. We often say affirmative prayer because we just think it sounds a little less weird, although we like spiritual mind treatment too, and all it means is a prayer that has a methodology, an intention. You can't get what you want if you don't know what it is, right? And so you clarify what it is that you're seeking to pray for, this or something better, and you get to work. And I'm going to share my interpretation of 5 steps for affirmative prayer today. The first is recognition or casting your net. Casting your net. Try this. Just as soon as that coffee's done brewing or your cup of tea, you just sit down and you cast the net of your consciousness in order to receive a grander idea of the divine than you have ever had before. Cast your net, if only a little greater idea than the one you had yesterday. We can do this through a verbal practice. God, you are pure love. God, you are the oldest part of me, and you are eternally brand new life and creativity. We can continue to cast that net and experience the divine as the most profound wisdom, as the most full silence, as the feeling of tears and laughter coming together in a fluidity of grace. Sometimes we achieve this realization verbally. Sometimes we shut up and we listen to what the divine would have us know about what it is, who we are, and why we're here. The question that bothers me most in all religiosity is the most basic question: do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? Answer yes or no. Yes. Oh, thank you. And I know there's exceptions, but I'm going to go on a limb here and say that the question, when forced to answer yes or no, forces an ingenuine answer. The correct answer for almost all people I know is sometimes. Sometimes I believe in God, sometimes I don't. Even the most stringent atheist has moments of awe and wonder and unity where they at least find themselves in agnosticism. And even the most strident evangelical can find in quiet moments asking themselves the question, is this but a defense mechanism against the hard realities of life? Do you believe in God? Sometimes. Sometimes in moments of unity, holding someone's hand as they transition to the other side, reading a great book, seeing the miracle of my children. Oh, how can I not believe in God? But there are other times, especially times when I've allowed myself to fall into a consciousness of victimhood or prosecutor or separated from life, that I don't have a lot of faith in God. I've come to believe that I'm the only whiny power that there is in my life. And I shut God out. So we have that opportunity to have a greater recognition of the divine by casting that net, taking that realization and weaving it into our lives. The second step, unification. The life living me. Yes, your life belongs to you, but it doesn't just belong to only you. Yes, you're living your life every day, but guess what? There's a greater, higher life that's also living you too. And in the unification step, all that we're doing is setting aside the life we are living in order to have a genuine experience of the life living us. I set the life I'm living aside just for a moment to remember that life living me, alive, abundant, with the qualities of spirit, of wisdom, love, healing. And the strange paradox is, in order to experience that life, we have to accept ourselves right where we are. Rumi, many centuries ago, told the story of a man who has died and finds himself knocking on the door of heaven and hears a voice saying, "Who is it?" And the man responds, "It is I." And the door is not opened to him. He goes and meditates and prays for a whole year and returns and knocks on the door again. Who is it? It is thee. And the door is opened, and he enters into the consciousness of heaven. We accept that the divine life lives in each one of us through the power of humility, through the power of surrender, through the power of opening ourselves to a new transparency, to the most intimate connection there is with our source. From unification, we move into realization. This is where we begin to open up to the possibilities of a demonstration that can occur in our lives. Notice in those first two steps, I'm not talking about my relationships or my finances or my work or my health. I'm just focused on me and that life divine. But in this step, we begin to imagine, now that I've renewed my conception of the divine, now that it has renewed me by helping me to know that there is a divine life in, through, and around me, what does that mean about my marriage? What does that mean about my finances? What does that say about how I'm showing up to work? I'm so grateful here at Mile High Church for our prayer and care center, directed by Patty Lukenbach, coordinated by Lee Carlson. So appreciative of Sandy Triona and all the practitioners that work there regularly. They help us know the truth for us. And one of my favorite practitioners who works regularly in that prayer and care center, she's been supporting people there for 17 years, is Aluna Chen. And I figured she'd be much better than I to speak a little bit to the power of the demonstration that can come forward through being a practitioner for ourselves or allowing a practitioner to serve us. So let's hear it for Aluna.
Thank you, Reverend Josh. My name is Aluna, and my superpower is brilliance. And I'm so honored to be here this morning to share about prayer and the gift that the Prayer and Care Center is and has been in my life, and the gift that it is for our community and for all of our congregants. Yes. And I just am so grateful that I get to be here in the very heart of our spiritual mind treatment. You see, for the third step, the realization step, is the center. It's the heart. There's two above and there's two below. And the thing that resonates most for me about this part of treatment is not so much demonstration, but transformation. Right? Because when we show up willing and available to be transformed, the demonstration takes care of itself. And I want you to know that we're named practitioners because we practice. We're not arriving anywhere. We're not arrivingers. We're practitioners, right? So what a gift to find yourself a partner and to practice that transformation. The second thing that I love so much about prayer is that it is self-regulating our nervous system. All that we're finding about the brain and the new neuroscience speaks to ritual being a way to calm our nervous system and to change our brain. So thank you so much for bringing that gift to our children, because that was a ritual. And that's going to affect their nervous system, and it's going to affect their brain. What a gift. So remember, self-regulation is a superpower. Next time you step up to pray or you move into prayer, you're putting on your cape, okay? And that we're moving from reacting from fear to responding from love. And isn't that what we need right now? Yes, we need that in the world. And my favorite story, I just want to share a little story about all my time at the Prayer and Care Center, is one day I was working and I didn't have any clients, so I was up front and we answered the call to prayer. And so I got this call, and it was this young woman who was very distraught. So what do? We spend time with them, we listen, and we go into prayer. And right at the end, I was getting this sense that I should just invite her in, right? I didn't have any clients. Maybe she could come in and spend some time. So I did, and she said yes. And she came in, and we had an ordinary session where it was beautiful and blessed. And what did you say, Josh? It's the accepting the cloak of acceptance, right? When we accept people and be with them. And so she left. I didn't think much about it. And then 2 years later, I'm out in the parking lot and I see this figure coming towards me. And all of a sudden, her little son comes running up, grabs my leg, looks up at me with his big, beautiful eyes, and he says, "Oh, thank you so much for saving my mommy." I was shocked. My heart stopped. I had no idea. And I looked up, and here was this beautiful, dear soul. And she told me in that moment, that she hadn't said it in the moment when we got together, that that phone call that she had made was going to be her last phone call. That call for prayer was going to be her last prayer. And I'm just in awe of the grace that when we are available to be transformed by love, that love transforms us, all of us. So I invite you in. I invite you into prayer. I invite you into the Prayer and Care Center. I invite you into finding a practitioner that wants to be transformed with and as you, through you, and for you in the alchemy of prayer. And I know that that's what our teaching is about. As Ernest says, the divine can only do for us what we allow it to do through us. So thank you. So blessed.
Thank you, Luna. And this is a thank you to all of our practitioners, but I think of the hundreds and hundreds and probably more people that you've created that cloak of sanctuary and acceptance for. It's an immense achievement. We are so grateful to you and how blessed our community is to have dynamic people like Aluna available to support us through life's ups and downs. Briefly, 2 other steps. The next we'll just call gratitude. Gratitude. It's about embodying what's essential. Gratitude seems like a nice, polite step of prayer. Say thank you. Thanks, God. But there's something deeper about gratitude that helps us accept, embody, kinesthetically, take on the feeling tone as well as the actuality of that which we seek to demonstrate. I have a wonderful friend named Larry Sen who wrote a wonderful book called The Mood Elevator, and he has a little graphic that he shows, and he says that everybody's mood elevator may be a little different, and you can see where you can go down or up. But for him, gratitude is at the top of the list, as I'm sure it is for so many of us. And what it tells us pragmatically is that when it comes to making the tough choices of your life, those creative choices, make sure you do so when you're at the top of your mood elevator. It also tells me that gratitude isn't just about what we see in giving thanks, it's about how we see. Gratitude helps us see life from a panoramic view, from the highest, most whole state we can. So when we practice gratitude, we see life wholly, and it becomes perfect to do so in affirmative prayer. Lastly, I'll call this last step incubation, loosening the creative process. In science, we have the idea of the creative process, and the first thing that you do is you define the problem. You get all the information you can about a problem that you want to solve, and you get clarity around it, and then what do? You forget about it. You forget about it. And this process happens called incubation, which we might say is a mind that is different than the one that we are consciously aware of gets to work on the problem. This is why it's often said that Einstein got his best ideas while shaving. And this is very much the process of prayer. It's not about letting the prayer go so much as it is doing what our beloved Dr. Roger would call little me move over, big me take over. We're taking that mind of ours that we love that can get stuck, and we're recognizing that there's an aspect of our intelligence that knows even better than we do. And we allow its creative process to do its thing, to demonstrate in our lives, and to commit ourselves to being ready, to listening, and to embodying our most divine truths in our everyday lives. Moving into prayer this morning, I invite any of our wonderful prayer practitioners to stand and join me, knowing that so many of these individuals are available to do an affirmative prayer with you in front of the stage after service. Bringing Emerson into our prayer, he says, a little consideration of what takes place around us every day would show us that a higher law than that of our will regulates events, that our painful labors are very unnecessary and altogether fruitless, that only in our easy, simple, spontaneous actions are we strong, and by contenting ourselves with obedience, we become divine. Knowing indeed the wonder of recognizing that there is indeed an infinite energy, a limitless intelligence, a divine love, not only surrounding us, inspiring us, but calling to be embodied in, through, and as us, to live life in awareness that we are surrounded by a creative power of mind and heart, gives us the ability to have that extra layer of awareness, to live each day, to make each choice, to feel each feeling, held in a sanctuary of gracefulness, in a palace of excitement, in a home of solid unity, which embraces us and brings us to stillness, and that releases us into a world with a sense of adventure, freedom, and anticipation. Co-creating our lives with joy, we use this tool of affirmative prayer as our foundation, and we build a life filled with demonstrations of richness, of healing, of love, and connection. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Thanks for listening to the Mile High Church podcast. This podcast is made possible by the generous contributions from listeners like you. To make a donation, please visit milehighchurch.org.